So the deportation of the first batch of illegal Indian migrants from the United States of America has triggered a political face-off at home. The opposition is up in arms after those who were deported were sent back in handcuffs and they were chained while on board the US military C-17 Globemaster. However, External Affairs Minister Dr. S Jaishankar said it is US policy to restrain those who are being sent home on US military aircraft. It's a standard operating procedure. He informed the parliament he'd been told by the US that women and children were not restrained. He assured the House that he will raise the issue of mistreatment, if any, with the US government. But will Prime Minister Narendra Modi take it up with Donald Trump when they meet at the White House next week? Our political bureau with our top story.
Legs chained, hands cuffed. This is how 104 deportees arrived in India from the United States. A video posted by the US Border Patrol claimed it marked the farthest deportation flight yet using military transport. The manner in which the illegal Indian migrants were transported back triggered a political war. External Affairs Minister S Jaishankar gave an update to the parliament.
Deportations by the US are organized and executed by the Immigration and Customs Enforcement ICE authorities. However, we have been informed by ICE that women and children are not restrained.
Jaishankar claimed the same process has been followed for many years now.
It is the obligation of all countries to take back their nationals if they are found to be living illegally abroad. Honorable members would be aware that the process of deportation is not a new one. I repeat, not a new one, and has been ongoing for several years.
The opposition protested against what they are calling the inhumane deportation of the illegal immigrants.
क्या सरकार जानती है कि 5 फरवरी को 104 भारतीयों को हाथ में हथकड़ी और पांव में जंजीरें लगाकर, जहां 19 महिलाएं भी शामिल थी, 40 घंटे की यात्रा जिसमें एक टॉयलेट, इस अमानवीय तरीके से उनको जबरन भारत भेजा गया और सरकार चुप्पी साधे रही?
When countries like Colombia, which don't even figure in the top 10, can send an aircraft and bring their citizens back with dignity, what stops our government from sending one aircraft? We don't have a shortage of it.
Opposition leaders also staged a protest outside Parliament. The grand old party is questioning Modi-Trump ties.
बहुत बातें की गई कि मोदी जी ट्रंप जी बहुत अच्छे मित्र हैं और मोदी जी ने ऐसे क्यों होने दिया? क्या हम अपना जहाज नहीं भेज सकते थे उनको लेने के लिए? इस तरह से क्या इंसानों के साथ बर्ताव किया जाता है कि उनको हथकड़ियां पहना के, बेड़ियां पहना के भेजा यहाँ पे?
External Affairs Minister S Jaishankar, responding to opposition charges in Parliament, explained the deported citizens were treated with empathy by the Indian agencies.
The authorities have been given instructions, and I would urge Honorable Member Sanjay Singh not to misrepresent that instruction. They have been given instruction to sit with every one of the returnees, find out how did they go to America, who was the agent, how did this illegal industry happen, how can we take precautions so that this does not continue. We have been very, I would say, such sympathetic and solicitous to the predicament of people going.
The 104 illegal immigrants who were caught at the US-Mexico border have become a political flashpoint in India. The deportation has come just days ahead of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's planned visit to the United States for talks with President Donald Trump. Bureau Report, India Today.
Sending back illegal migrants was a major poll promise made by Donald Trump to the US electorate. But did he have to make an example out of a close strategic partner, India? Did he have to send back illegals from India on board a military aircraft, a C-17 Globemaster? Could a civilian chartered aircraft have been used instead? Should India have sent a plane like Colombia so that its citizens can come back, as Colombia said, with dignity intact? And finally, can this be a template? Can India also send back illegal Bangladeshis or other illegals living in India the same way? Many questions we seek answers to. Joining me on India First, Sanju Verma represents the BJP. Sanjay Jha, former spokesperson of the Congress party, now joins us as an analyst. And Ambassador Ashok Sajjanhar will give us a diplomatic perspective on this. And Sanju Verma, all guns trained at the Narendra Modi government. Opposition says Trump has embarrassed India and Prime Minister Narendra Modi should take it up with him when he meets him in the US next week. What's the government's take? What's the BJP's take on this?
You know, Gaurav, I think you know it better than any of us because foreign policy is something that is your domain. The Foreign Affairs Minister, External Affairs Minister, Mr. Jaishankar has called out the bluff of the opposition fair and square. There is an international protocol. The Trump 2.0 dispensation has followed international rule book. And I think for any of us to be sitting here and waxing eloquent about illegal migrants, you know, they could be from any country of origin, any caste, creed, religion. That is immaterial. That is secondary. The important bit is this. There is a difference between a refugee and an illegal migrant or an illegal alien. A refugee is somebody who decides to seek shelter or asylum because he or she has been persecuted on religious grounds in his or her home country, or there is a warlike situation or violence which they have had to flee from. But when you are an illegal migrant at Ghuspetia, you willfully, deliberately broken international protocol, broken international law, knowing very well what the consequences could be going forward. I fail to understand why Rahul Gandhi, the likes of a Prashant Bhushan, the entire Soros-backed Jamaat within the Congress ecosystem, the entire Darbaris, why are they trying to legitimize illegal migrants? इतनी सहानुभूति क्यों दिखा रहे हैं? वो क्या आपके जमाई हैं, आपके बहनोई हैं, आपके फूफा हैं, आपकी फूफी हैं? I want to ask Rahul Gandhi through your show, Gaurav Sawant. He now stays at bungalow number 5, Sunehri Road in Delhi, or for that matter, Priyanka Vadra, who stays at bungalow number G80
okay, let's not give out their addresses for security reasons. But your point taken.
Mollycoddle intruders? Will the mollycoddle squatters? Will you allow me to settle into your residence uninvited, beyond my welcome? Will I be entertained? I mean, this is international diplomacy that we are talking of. And
Fair
my
enough.
last point,
You made that point, ma'am. Let me take this to Sanjay Jha.
My final point. My final point, please bear with me for 10 seconds. I will just end by saying this. Prime Minister Narendra Modi does not need certificates on international diplomacy from a Congress party which has had its sympathies with the Hamas and Hezbollah in Kerala. You know, it has always mollycoddled smugglers with gold in their rectums, and it has always had sympathies with people in Karnataka belonging to the Simi and PFI and the Jamaat-e-Islami.
Okay, ma'am, you made your opening comment. I didn't interrupt you, but let me now bring in Sanjay Jha. Sanjay Jha, Sanju Verma asks, these are illegals. They knew the consequences of their actions, yet they did it. Why is the Congress, and as Sanju Verma puts it, this entire Soros-backed Jamaat standing with illegals, sir? Because not the first time illegals are being deported. The US has a standard operating procedure. They put restraints on illegals being sent out. It's done with everybody. Why is the opposition up in arms in 2025 when this process has been on since 2009, as the External Affairs Minister gave details out, sir?
Gaurav, great to be with you on the program. A kind request. I hope I'm not interrupted by anybody. I won't take too long. I hung my head in shame listening to the External Affairs Minister in Parliament. I mean, can you imagine the audacity, or shall I say the shamelessness of saying that the humiliation given to our illegal migrants is par for the course? And I'll give you 2 examples. This is the same Modi government. When Gautam Adani was indicted by the Department of Justice after the FBI investigation and the SEC, the entire government machinery, including the BJP spokespersons all over the country, defended Gautam Adani's shenanigans because India's patriotism and nationalist pride was being hurt. And look at the duplicitous, hypocritical, and cowardly behavior of Mr. Modi's government. Then when illegal migrants, and Gaurav, you know that, people who have left this country because they have no hope here, they see no opportunity, probably they're insecure.
Why have you not left the country then?
Well, I stop being interrupted.
Why have you not left the country?
Gaurav, I leave it to you.
Ma'am,
why are you still sitting here in India?
let Mr. Jha complete his point.
Carry on.
Ma'am, let him make his opening statement. I'll come back to you to respond. I've seen your hands up. I'll get your fingers up, ma'am. We'll come to you to respond, but go on, Mr. Jha, complete your point.
Thank you, Gaurav. And here you find when our people who could have been sent on a commercial jet, an Indian plane could have gone and got them back.
Okay.
There's no shortage of aircrafts. We have done many such missions in the past. You allow them to come in a ULS military plane where Donald Trump is making a statement to his American people that I'm using US, formidable military power to deport illegal migrants. And we in India, who campaigned for Donald Trump saying, "Ab ki baar Trump Sarkar," are allowing our own people to come chained, to be handcuffed, without access to food and toilets. And then you have a silent government.
Sir, that point about not having access to
joke.
food and toilet has been contested and responded to by the External Affairs Minister. Before I come to Sanju Verma to respond, sir, I want to bring in Ambassador Sajjanhar into this conversation. Sir, is there merit? Did Donald Trump have to make such a song and dance about sending back illegals from India? You may want to make a point. It may have been an electoral pledge, but not at the cost of a strategic partner. Has he not embarrassed not just Prime Minister Narendra Modi, but the entire country? Ambassador Sajjanhar?
Yeah, thank you very much, Gaurav. I think this, as the External Affairs Minister very correctly said, this is a procedure, this is the rule book as far as the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Authority is concerned. And it is no difference to India as compared to the other deportations that are done, whether it was with Colombia. Colombia was raised in the parliament also, whether Colombia or Mexico or El Salvador or any of the other countries. So it is not a special case as far as India is concerned. All those who go, they are, as it says, the rule book that Dr. Jaishankar read out, that they are restrained. The women and children are not restrained, but as far as the other illegal deportees are concerned, they are restrained. So it was not something special that was done as far as India is concerned. Secondly, I think what Dr. Jaishankar also said, that we are going to take up this issue with the concerned authorities to see if more humane treatment cannot be meted to Indian deportees who are being sent. Because, what I see, which is different in this case, meaning a normal non-stop flight from the United States to India, to Amritsar would be about 14, 16 hours.
Yes.
Here, of course, I think on your channel you are mentioning, and some other channels also are mentioning, it is 40 hours.
Yes.
So I can't really imagine how,
No, there were breaks in between. Ramstein Air Base, it's that narrow air base in Germany where they stopped to refuel.
Yes. So there they would have been allowed to go out, if there has been some stopover and so on and so forth. So there would be, it's about 8-9 hours from New York to Germany, and from there about another 8-9 hours here.
Okay.
So I don't know how it is 40 hours unless it was a 20-hour layover in Germany. But whatever that might be, I don't want to get into these nitty-gritty details, meaning if there
should India have sent a plane is another point that's being raised. And Sanju Verma, the opposition, as you also heard Ambassador Sajjanhar, cited the example of Colombia. Their president offered to send the presidential plane, according to media reports from Colombia, so that the dignity of those being deported is maintained. India being the 5th largest economy with successful repatriation of several thousand Indians from different war zones. Should India have sent an aircraft to bring back our own people, even if they're illegals in America?
Gaurav, this is a very unpopular opinion, but I'm not going to shove the hard truth under the carpet. Illegal migrants need to be called out for what they are. They are criminals at the end of the day. Let's not try and legitimize their illegal presence as illegal aliens in a foreign country when they willfully chose to break the law of the land. Point number one. Point number two, I did not want to make this about Gautam Adani, but let's get this very clear, that being indicted does not mean that you're guilty. If indicted means guilty, by that logic, Sonia Gandhi is indicted in National Herald scam. Is she guilty? Rahul Gandhi is indicted in National Herald scam. Is he guilty? P. Chidambaram is indicted in, the INX media scam. Is he guilty? Indicted simply means formally charge sheeting somebody. So please, Mr. Jha, learn the difference between being held guilty and indictment. Point number 3. Don't forget that since 2009, be it Brunei, be it Beirut, be it Singapore, be it Muscat, be it Riyadh, be it Seoul in South Korea, be it Frankfurt or Turkmenistan, there have been deportations even under the erstwhile Congress dispensations. The difference is the BJP never chose to politicize those. And my final point, Gaurav, which your audience needs to listen to, I have always said this. This is a famous, quote by Sushma Swaraj when she was alive. She had told somebody who had questioned her on Twitter then, she said, even if you're on Mars or Jupiter, the Modi government will bring you back to safety as long as you're a bona fide citizen and not an illegal alien. Need I remind you, Gaurav, you know this better than I do. 2015 civil war in Yemen, the Modi government rescued over 6,000 people.
Absolutely. But ultimately, these are our own people.
Can I just finish, Gaurav?
No.
Can I please finish in 20 seconds?
Ma'am, I have precisely 1.5 minutes left on the show right now. But Sanjay Jha, India is obliged to bring back illegal Indians. Why is the opposition creating such a ruckus about this? These are people who knew the risks they were taking by going overseas illegally. US has a policy of restraining those illegal on-board an aircraft. So what is wrong if US is following a policy, and as the External Affairs Minister said, women and children were not cuffed or chained?
So is Mr. Modi's government saying that Indians who have gone abroad because they have been forced to go abroad, because their social and economic circumstances within the country were difficult?
Sir, they've spent 40 to 50 lakh rupees to go abroad.
Wait, just a minute, Gaurav. Should they be subjected to this kind of public ridicule and humiliation by a foreign government making a political statement when Mr. Modi's government has campaigned for this party? Is the basic human respect not an issue? Since Mr. Modi promotes a lot of Bollywood films, through your channel, let me request Prime Minister Modi ji, please go and watch Rajkumar Hirani's movie Dunki to realize the state of people from Punjab and different parts, by the way, even his home state of Gujarat, who are leaving our country and going to different parts of the world. It's a desperate situation.
Sanju Verma wants to quickly respond.
Sanju
Verma wants to quickly respond. I have the
The
last
government
1
is
minute
responsible.
Can I please finish?
10 seconds for me.
I have listened to this man speaking rubbish and making baseless allegations. Let me make one thing very clear. Do you remember at the height of COVID second wave, we conducted Operation Vande Bharat and evacuated more than 1.5 crore people across 89 countries, and the Congress had a problem. Operation Devi Shakti in 2021, we evacuated thousands of people from war-torn Kabul.
Fake news.
Operation Ganga, we evacuated 20,000 students from Ukraine, and your Rahul Gandhi still had a problem. Operation Dost, we evacuated people from earthquake
But
zones.
Ambassador Sajjanhar, can India tell the US, do not put Indians in handcuffs and chains, or should India send our own plane to bring them back?
Okay, that's
30
the
seconds.
point I wanted to make, Gaurav. The first is that I think in India, the Modi government has a blemishless record as far as repatriation of its citizens is concerned. Secondly, as the External Affairs Minister said, this is the rule of the ICE authority, that they restrain whoever is being sent except women and children. So, when we were mentioning about Colombia might send its aircraft, but still the men folk who are going to come, it is not that they will be unshackled. It is not that they will, because they will come under the security of the American authorities. So, I don't think anyone should be under this misimpression that if I'm going to send my planes. Now, Colombia is 300 kilometers, 400 kilometers from the US. India being so far, if there are about 1,000 or 5,000, how many aircrafts are you going to send?
And this is where the debate lies. This is where the big question lies. I've run out of time on this part of the show because another day we will discuss. Are we also to send back the Bangladeshis, the illegals who are living in our country the same way? And will the opposition then be on the same page with the government? If the government truly does that, we'll track that story closely.